Hey, I'm Rachel J, and this is Cultivator Kitchen. Today we are making sourdough chocolate chip scones. These are super quick and easy to make. And if you guys liked my vegan sourdough biscuits recipe, then these are kind of similar. There's a secret ingredient that replaces all the egg and oil. These are my favorite thing to make right now. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. And there's a lot of ways you can modify it. I'll also show you how to make these if you don't have a sourdough starter. All right, here's the recipe. Here are the ingredients that we're going to use today. I have 1.5 cups flour. I'm using 1 cup of whole wheat flour with 1/2 cup of organic dark rye flour. And of course I have my rye sourdough starter. I just love rye starter. It's really bubbly and holds up well, and I think it's delicious. So we're gonna use some of that. If you don't have a sourdough starter, you can leave out the extra 1/2 cup of flour and leave that out from the recipe, and this should work just as well. If you guys are looking for a gluten-free version, I shared a recipe for gluten-free zucchini pumpkin spice scones, and I'll link to it in the cards and description so that you guys can find it if you're looking for that. I'm also going to be using baking powder and a little bit of coconut sugar, as well as a little bit of maple syrup for sweetener. I have some vanilla, and then I'm going to use the magic ingredient, which is organic unsweetened applesauce. This is going to replace our oil and any eggs in a scone recipe. And then I'm also going to use some oat milk, and optional, but I think it tastes amazing, is to have some of these vegan allergy friendly mini chocolate chips in here. You could also use berries. I've used walnuts, I've used oats. You could add a little cacao powder to your flour blend and have chocolate chip scones. Really, whatever kind you guys want to make with this, it's going to be super delicious. To get started, we are going to add all of our dry ingredients together. So that's 1 teaspoon of baking powder and also 1 tablespoon of coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is not very sweet and it's low glycemic. So if you're going to substitute a different kind of sugar, please use half the amount. Then I'm just going to whisk these together, make sure everything is combined. And we're ready to add our wet ingredients. And then we're just going to mix everything together, stir it gently to combine. And then we'll be ready to add our chocolate chips. And then we're ready to add the chocolate chips. And you also want to preheat your oven to 425. If you omitted the sourdough starter and you have just the 1 cup of flour, and if it looks a little drier than this, you could add an additional tablespoon of oat milk, but that's completely up to you. Add in just a 1/4 cup of mini vegan chocolate chips. I actually think I'm only going to use half of this, so 1/8 of a cup. I don't like it too sweet, so you guys can decide how sweet you want these. Scones should be slightly sweet and not very sweet, so that's why I'm going to go light on those. This is also where if I wanted to add some oats or walnuts, it would be a really good time to add that in. If you want to make chocolate chip walnut scones or chocolate chip oat scones. And sometimes I add a little raw cacao powder and make these chocolate chip scones, and that's really good too. Probably my favorite is if I put a little matcha powder, just a teaspoon of matcha powder in chocolate chip matcha scones. If you have matcha, oh my goodness, so delicious. And that's it. That's our scone batter. And now we're just going to put them on some silicone mats on our baking tray and bake them for 12 to 13 minutes. I like my scones quite rustic, So I'm just going to drop them onto the baking sheet so that you get all these nice edges that'll get crispy in the oven. These are all ready for the oven. And we're going to bake these for 12 to 13 minutes and then let them cool. And this recipe will make about 8 medium-sized scones. And while those are in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and feed my sourdough starter so it's ready to go next time I want to bake with it. I added equal parts flour and water to my starter, and now I'm just going to stir it up and put it back. They're out of the oven. You can see they're a little bit crispy and nice and fluffy. They smell amazing, but now here's the hard part. You need to let these sit for 10 minutes, and trust me, they're too hot to eat, even though they smell amazing. They really have the best texture if you let them sit for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna let them sit and then show you the inside. It's been 10 minutes and these are finally ready. They're still really warm, but the bottom is nice and crispy and they're fluffy and ready to eat. And that's it. They're all ready. I hope you guys are going to love these. They're so delicious. If you make them, put a picture on Instagram and tag me so I can check them out and see what you put inside them. If you went with chocolate chips like I did, or berries or nuts or anything else. All right, see you guys next time.